September the 26th, 2024, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful day so far today. I just want to start off today's video and just say that my heart and my prayers go out to anybody that's in the direct line of this hurricane that's headed our way right now. I don't think it's hit landfall quite yet at this point of recording this video, but I'm not sure. I haven't checked it in a couple of hours. I think it's about 12 o'clock right now that I'm filming this. But once again, my heart goes out to you. I know that we have a lot of subscribers here on this channel that either reside in Florida or Georgia, or they have friends or family that live there. I'm praying for everyone. And I really hope that everybody stays safe out there in the middle of this. You know, these hurricanes can be pretty scary stuff. And it's crazy too, because you know, just last week I made a video talking about how you know, I went to the hospital for the second time almost 2 years ago to the day. And there was a hurricane. It was Hurricane Ian that we were dealing with during that time 2 years ago. And this is the time of year that it's hurricane season. And you know, once again, I really am praying for everybody, and I hope everybody stays safe out there during this. Second, I would like to just say thank you so much to everybody that watched the talk that I did with Will. Thank you so much for everybody liking, commenting, watching, just interacting in those videos. I really do appreciate it, especially, you know, you guys went out and subscribed to Will's channel. I really do appreciate that a lot. You know, Will's trying to start his channel, and you know, all of you guys hopping over there and subscribing and getting him started really does mean a lot to me. So thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. You know, Will's story was very compelling, and it's definitely a testament to what can happen if you know, we continue to drink in a manner that's unhealthy. And well, no amount of drinking is healthy, but you know what I mean. It just doesn't lead to anything good. And you know, once again, thank you so much for coming on, Will. I really do appreciate it. What I want to talk about today is a little bit off topic of something that I would normally discuss on this channel, but I was just thinking about it this morning, and I thought it'd be an interesting story to tell you guys. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with alcohol, but it does have to do with addiction, and it has to do with me, and it has to do with something that happened to me when I was a teenager because of my addictive nature. You know, the thing is that alcohol is not the first substance that I got addicted to. And, you know, the first, now I did drink a lot back then, but, you know, the first substance that I really, you know, started to abuse, and I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm just going to reference it as broccoli on here today. Just for the sake of YouTube and their policies and all that stuff. But you know, my first substance of choice that I really started to play around with, started to use on a daily basis, I used it all day long, was broccoli. And not the type of broccoli that you eat, the type of broccoli that you smoke. And I started using broccoli at a very young age. You know, and once I found broccoli and started playing around with it, you know, I really liked the way that it changed my consciousness. I just fell in love with that feeling. And, you know, it started off in the beginning, you know, I would, you know, smoke broccoli here and there, but then it became something to where I became very, it became compulsive. It became something that I had to do. Just like my addiction to alcohol, it was something that I had to do all day, every day. And that started at a very young age. I would say that I was using broccoli every day from the age of probably about 14 years old. You know, it was one of those things that it was actually easier for me to get my hands on than alcohol. You know, I knew somebody or a few people that I could, you know, that could get it for me. And, you know, getting alcohol wasn't that hard, but it was actually easier for me to acquire the broccoli than it was for me to acquire alcohol. And whenever I could get my hands on alcohol, I would drink it. But, and I was using both at the same time too, but I always used broccoli back in those days, always. It was just something that was a part of my life. And you know, it's one of those things that you know, a lot of people like to say that you can't get addicted to, but I can definitely say that you can. Now, physically, I don't know, but I can tell you that mentally, I was absolutely addicted to broccoli. And if I didn't have it, my day was not a good day. It would be a horrible day for me. From the time that I would wake up in the morning until I went to bed at night, I was using that substance. And like I said, it became compulsive. I don't know if I was more addicted to you know, the whole ritual of it, hanging out with my friends, or, oh, I'm sorry, but I just don't know. I don't know what it was that was so enticing to me, but it was, and it was something that had completely taken over my life. You know, my parents kept catching me doing it. It was a problem for me, a major problem for me. And what I wanted to do is just kind of tell a story today, and you know, just talk about, you know, one of the instances that happened because of my usage, because I had no self-control at all. And what I want to talk about today is the time that I got robbed because I had to get my hands on it, and it just goes to show my addictive nature. And I've had this same addictive nature since I was a very young guy. This all started, I was in high school, and we got out of school one day, and I was, you know, one of my friends that, you know, I used to consume the broccoli with all the time. You know, I was talking with him because we didn't have any. And the person that I would normally get it from didn't have any during that period of time. So I was talking with this guy, and I said, hey, do you know where we might be able to get our hands on some at? And he said, I don't know anybody per se, but I do know a place that we can go, and anytime I've been down there, they've always got it. So I said, okay, well, let's go there. So we got in his car. He was driving, and I can't remember what kind of car it was, which kind of plays into the part of the story, but it was like a minivan is what it was. So I'm in the passenger seat, he's driving, and he says, we're going to go to this place, and, you know, we'll probably be able to find somebody there. And we didn't really talk much about it on the way. I didn't ask him any questions. All I cared about was I just wanted to get high. That's all I cared about. So we're on the way there. And, you know, we drive, and we start getting into the bad part of town. And I'm like, where are we going, man? And he said, well, you know, there's these basketball courts down here, and there's always somebody down there that's got it. And this is back in the, you know, early 90s, or mid 90s. So, you know, back in those days, this was a very taboo thing back then. You know, it's not like these days where you can, you know, there's half of the country has it legalized. I don't think there was anywhere in the United States that it was legal during this period of time at all. And, you know, once again, it was very taboo. If you got caught with it, you were definitely going to jail, especially where I live. And it's still illegal here. There's no medical or anything like that here. If you get caught with it here still to this day, you're going to jail. So, you know, back in those days, you know, it was even worse. I think they've kind of lessened up on, you know, how much trouble you get in here now. Back in those days, I mean, you really could get in serious trouble for having that kind of stuff on you. So, anyway, I don't even know why I just told that part, but we're heading to go over to this place, like I said, and we're getting on the bad side of town. And he told me, you know, that we're going to these basketball courts to acquire it. And I'm like, you know, okay, sure, whatever. And we pull into these basketball courts. Now we're like on the bad part of town. Like, this is not a good section of town that we're at, and it's really run down. You know, buildings are dilapidated. You know, just you know, you're not where you're supposed to be. And we pull into the basketball court area, and there's a parking lot. So we pull in, and as we pull in, I see this big group of guys, and they're all standing out there with their shirts off, standing beside their vehicles. And there's probably, like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 vehicles out there, and there's probably about 15 guys standing outside, standing out in this parking lot with their shirts off. Well, we pull up, and one of the guys approaches our car, and said, what are y'all looking for? And we told him, you know, we're looking for some broccoli. And the guy said, okay, come back in 5 minutes and I'll have it. So we're like, okay. And he asked, you know, how much broccoli do you want? And we told him, I think it was like $20 worth or something. So we leave. And as we're leaving, I told the guy, hey man, I don't feel comfortable with this situation. Like, I just don't. I don't think we should be here. This seems really sketchy to me. Let's not do this. You know, let's just not worry about it today. And he's like, no, man, I'm telling you, it's fine. I've been down here. I've dealt with these guys many a time before. It's totally okay. Nothing's going to happen. It's okay. And I'm like, okay. So once again, you know, my spidey senses are just going off. My gut is telling me, do not go back to this place. But my addicted mind, because, you know, I want to change my consciousness so bad, I go against my gut and against my spidey senses and just go with it. So we ride around for a few minutes, and then we come back to the location after 5 minutes has elapsed. When we pull back into that parking lot again, now there's like twice as many people there. I don't know if they called more people to show up. I just don't know what happened. Or, you know, they could have been about to have a basketball game or something. I don't know. But there was twice as many people out there when we pulled up this time. Once again, everybody's hanging out. They got the shirts off. It just was a really sketchy situation. And I just did not feel comfortable going there. But we went anyway. And once again, against my better judgment, we went ahead and pulled in. I should have just told the guy, let's just leave. But we pulled in. And when we pulled into the parking lot, that same guy who had approached us the first time walked back up to the vehicle. And I had my window down on the passenger side, and he walked up to me. And he said, you know, what are you guys looking for? And, you know, told him once again what we were wanting to get. And, you know, told him, you know, $20. And the guy said, okay. And he had like a Walmart plastic bag that was like up underneath of the trunk of one of the cars that he was standing up against. So he reaches underneath the car, grabs that little plastic bag out, grabs out another little baggie, and he's got the one plastic bag in this hand, and he's got the other plastic baggie in his other hand. He walks up to the passenger side of the vehicle and goes to hand me the baggie. Well, when he goes to hand me the baggie, I handed him the money. As we do the exchange, and I just had one hand out, so like I hand him the money, he puts the bag into my right hand, and I'm not looking or paying any attention to what's going on in my surroundings during this period of time. But as I handed him the money, he put the bag in my hand. Before I even knew what was even going on, one of the guys reached into the car and grabbed the seatbelt and quickly wrapped it around my neck and pushed me up against the back of the car. So he took the seatbelt before, I mean, so quick I can't even tell you. I don't even know how this even happened the way that it did. But he grabbed that seatbelt and just wrapped it around my head and then yanked me back. And then another guy, because the back window was open, another guy grabbed the seatbelt as well, and they're pulling me up against the back of the seat. So I can't move at this point. I'm completely pulled up against the back of the seat. And another guy, I could feel somebody else, because at this point I'd given the guy the money, and I had that baggie inside of my right hand, and my hand was closed. And as all this is happening, and all this happened like so fast, you know, it's kind of hard to piece it all together, but I do remember what happened. I remember them, you know, they're pulling me up against the back of the seat with that seatbelt, right? They're choking me. And I look over and I see them doing the same thing on the driver's side of the car. They have grabbed his seatbelt and they're pulling him. They didn't have it wrapped around his neck, but they've got the seatbelt pulled and they've got him pulled up against the back of the seat. As all this is happening, I see another guy. He reaches through the passenger side window and is trying to, because the shift column is on the, it's on the column of the car, right by the steering wheel. And I see another guy, he's like slapping the shifter on the van, trying to slap it into park. And as this is happening, so somebody's reaching through, their like body is halfway through the passenger side window as they're yanking me back on the seat, and this guy's trying to slap the shifter into park so that we can't leave. And the car now is surrounded by people. People are punching me in the face. They're punching that other guy in the face as well. And as this is all happening, I still have my hand hanging out of the passenger side window, and I feel somebody grab it, and they're trying to yank that baggie out of my hand, and I kept my hand closed. And as they're trying to yank it out of my hand, I just kind of did this number like this with my hand, and the bag burst, and everything fell out of my hand onto the ground. And you know, like I said, they're choking me. Like I can barely breathe. And I told that guy, I said, you know, at the best that I could, I just said, you know, it was like, go, go, go. And like I said, this other guy's trying to reach into the passenger side window and slap it in the park, but he managed to be able to get it into reverse. I don't know how it happened. It was just the grace of God, I guess. And like I said, this car that we're in is surrounded by people at this point. They're trying to yank the door open to pull us out. And I'm telling him, you know, as loud as I can, go, 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 go. And he was able to get the car into reverse, and he just hit the gas. So he starts going, and when he hit the gas, I mean, he punched it, and the van just started going backwards. And all these guys are surrounding this van at this point. And they kind of like start falling off the side of the van. Because at this point, they had already yanked open my passenger side door. They were trying to get his, I think his door was locked. And this has been a very long time ago. I mean, we're talking, you know, 30 years ago since this has happened. So it's kind of hard for me to, you know, remember every single one of the details correctly. But I just remember him going backwards like super duper fast. And we're still in this parking lot, and as he starts going backwards, all these people start falling off the side of the vehicle, and they're like not happy with us because of what he did. And like we went a very long distance in reverse, and he went so quickly that we were able to break away from those people and give us some distance. Well, as we're still backing up across the parking lot, he's just got his you know, foot to the floor, you know, pedal to the floor. The van is flying across this parking lot, and it was a rather big parking lot, and he just, I guess, was just trying his best just to get away from these guys, and wasn't paying any attention to what was going on. And all of a sudden, boom, we hit up against a tree, and like super hard too. When he hit that tree, I guess the bumper of the van got hung up on that tree, because we ran up on the side of the curb. We backed up all the way to the end of the parking lot, hit the curb, and then hit that tree. And when his wheels, well, it hit the bumper of the car, ran up onto the tree, so it's kind of like sitting like this. The tires couldn't catch. So I said, put it in drive. And I'm guessing this is a rear wheel drive van, because like I said, the back tires were not getting any traction, and we weren't going anywhere. Meanwhile, these guys are running towards us from across the other side of the parking lot, and I mean, there's a bunch of them, and they are pissed. They are not happy. I mean, I knew right then, this is like, you know, we're in serious trouble, and if these guys get a hold of us, like, this isn't going to end well. I would not be here talking to you right now if things didn't work out the way that they did. But he's sitting there, he's got it in drive now, and you can hear the tires kind of catching a little bit. They're catching on the curb, as a matter of fact. So like, we're both kind of rocking the car. These guys are getting closer and closer at this point, and the tires are not getting any traction. The bumper of the van is sitting up on this tree. And just by the grace of God, the van slid down off the back of the tree, and all of a sudden the wheels caught traction. And I told him, go and do not stop. You know, I'm screaming at him, if those guys get in the way, don't stop. They're just gonna have to move. Like, do not stop. So he plows through, and these guys all jump out of the way. And it was one of those situations, you know, that if we didn't get out of there, you know, like I said, there's no way I'd be talking with you right now. It would not have ended well for those guys. Were not happy with us. So he plows through, and all those guys just, you know, jump out of the way, clear out of the way, and we were able to skate out of there. And right as we're getting out of that parking lot, I look, and right in front of us is a work crew. There's this big group of guys, your standard work crew of guys. There's probably like, I don't know, 10, 12 guys standing there. And they were like digging like a ditch or something, but they're all standing, they got their hard hats on, and they were standing there the whole time just watching all of this go down. Nobody stopped to try to help us or anything. We're just two young kids, two young teenage kids are, getting robbed. And they're just watching, Not saying anything bad about the guys, They were probably afraid too, and they were just watching what's going down. They're watching this whole thing happen. And, not saying anything bad about those guys, but they're just watching all of this happen, and we're leaving the parking lot, and we got out of there. But my point to the story is that I almost, we did get robbed. We did not get our money. They took the stuff, they took the money, and, with all intentions, they knew that we were coming back. And looking back on it now, when we first pulled into there, there was only a handful of guys there the first go round, and then when we stupidly went back. We're just dumb kids. We weren't thinking, and when we come back, there's even more. There's twice as much people there. We should have known better. Should have known this is not going to end well for us. But we weren't thinking. Instead, we're thinking we just want to get high. That's all we care about. So against our better judgment, we go ahead and pull into this parking lot anyway. And, risked our lives. We could have potentially lost our lives that day, all for the sake of just getting high. And, just how stupid is that? Even thinking about that story, still to this day, it kind of just gives me goosebumps to think about, because I came so close that day. And, it's just like everything else I've ever done in my life when I've been on a substance. Nothing else ever mattered to me. It was all about getting to that end goal. That's all I ever cared about. I didn't care about anybody else. I didn't care about what happened to me. All I cared about was I just wanted to get high. And that's the way I've been my whole entire life. It didn't start with alcohol necessarily. I've been like this ever since I was a young guy. Now, did I start drinking at a young age? Absolutely. But I really like this other substance as well. And, once again, almost lost my life because of my persistence and need to get high. When we pulled into that parking lot, we should have went, no way, Jose, let's go. First of all, we shouldn't even been down there to begin with. But it's just one of those things, I was always very selfish and didn't care about anybody else. Not only did, I risk my life that day, but, the other gentleman risked his life as well. We risked both of our lives in pursuit of getting high. And, my whole life has been like a roller coaster ride like that. My whole life. Things like that have happened my whole entire life. Have I gotten robbed a bunch of times? No. Have I been robbed more than that? I have. I actually got robbed another time as well. And I'll tell that story another day. And it actually happened about a year later after that. But it was another one of those instances. And even after that happened, I should have learned my lesson and said, I'm never doing something stupid like that ever again. But I didn't. I put myself in that position again about a year later. And that time, something like that happened again. And like I said, I'll tell that story another day. I don't want to take too much of your time today. But I just wanted to tell that story. It's just a cautionary tale of, the things that we're willing to put ourselves through, how we're willing to risk our life in order for the pursuit to change our consciousness. Because I've had an addictive personality my whole entire life. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And then, going on later in life, here I am drinking it to the point of excess to where I could feel my body was starting to have serious issues. And I never went to the doctor. I never tried to see what was going on with me because I didn't want somebody to tell me that you need to stop drinking. I didn't want to hear it. So I turned a blind eye to it all, looked the other way, and said, everything's going to be okay. All I care about is right now, how I feel and how I want to feel. That's all I ever cared about. And I'll deal with that tomorrow. Don't be like me. Please don't wait until tomorrow to find out what's going on with you. You know, if you're thinking about getting sober right now, go speak to a doctor. It's just not worth it to continue to go down that path. You do not want to end up like myself or like Will, who we just had, you know, 4 days worth of talks with, because serious health consequences can come along with drinking in excess. It really can. And you know, and if you're thinking about getting sober, like I said, please speak to a doctor. If you are on, you know, on the wagon right now and you're in the process of your sobriety, just keep going forward. Don't look back. It's not worth it. There's so many people that, you know, that have gone back, and all of them will tell you it's not worth it. You know, it's not what they thought it was going to be again. And I'm not saying that, you know, that's not part of the process, because it absolutely is. But I can tell you firsthand, and, you know, there's so many other people that can tell you firsthand that it absolutely is just not worth it. It's not going to be what you thought it was. You know, if it's been a couple months or a couple years and you keep getting that thought in your head and you think it might be a good idea to go back and try it again, don't do it. It's not all it's hyped up to be. You've got this nostalgic idea in your head of a couple of times that you had a really good time, but I can promise you that it's absolutely not going to be what you think it is actually going to be. So with that said, guys, I just wanted to tell that quick story today. And once again, guys, I'm praying for everybody that's in the path of this hurricane. I'm really sorry that, you know, for all of you guys that are having to deal with this right now. I am planning on doing a video as normal tomorrow as well. We're supposed to get like the worst part of this tomorrow, but I'll still do a video and all that good stuff. So I will see you guys tomorrow. And thank you so much for watching today, guys. I really do appreciate it. Until tomorrow, I will see y'all then. Love y'all so much.